Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Orange Board of Finance. Today is Monday, March 18th. We'll call the meeting to order at 7:03 PM. And we'll start by having everyone introduce themselves, beginning on my right.
Anna Mann?
Kevin McNabola.
John Cifarelli, Finance Director.
Joe Nuzzo.
Jim Leahy.
Ajit Jain.
Kevin Houlihan, thank you. Item number 3, public dialogue. Nope. All set? Okay. We'll move on to, at this point, I'd like to have a motion to add, since it's a regular meeting, we need to add a funding request to the agenda. So
Oh,
if someone can make that
Sure, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Jim, second by Ajit. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We gonna put it
Opposed,
next?
abstained. It's gonna do, yep, we're gonna do it right now.
Okay.
Okay, funding request, Mr. Cifarelli.
Okay. About 2 years ago, we allocated $220,000 for reevaluation, and then the state let us put it off a year. And with the year putting it off and with a couple other things, our allocation, our estimate was a little low. So what I'm asking for you to do tonight, out of the capital fund, to allocate $14,323.76 to make the final payment on the reevaluation to the subcontractor.
John, why
that did
wouldn't
it.
we take it out of one of the, the assessor's account and put it in the budget?
Because we need to pay it now.
Oh, okay. Asked and answered. Do tomorrow. I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 4, discussion and approval of minutes from March 4th, 2024 special meeting.
We can get him up here. John, you batting lead off or,
Okay, on page 2. I think we need to, that third bullet where it starts due to new developments at Firelight and Smith Farm, additional teachers have been added at Pickway School. Dr. Scarpetti also mentioned that new legislation has been passed that states that children who are age 5 by September 1st are allowed to attend kindergarten. Oh, sorry. I think we need to clarify a little bit and say on September 1st instead of January 1st.
Yeah, December
Just to
31st,
make
yeah,
it-
right,
Or
Yeah.
December 31st.
yeah. Right, that children are allowed to attend if they turn 5 by September 1st. You could say that,
Yeah.
instead of December 31st or something.
And just going back to page 1, where we identify Neil Armstrong as Director of Technology, we should identify him as interim Director of Technology. And that's all I had.
could I go back to the very same, bullet 2 on page 2? Because as I'm reading it now, that last sentence doesn't seem to be in the right paragraph. It feels to me that that's in relation to I think it goes as the second last sentence on the paragraph above it. In other words, in the paragraph above it, you eventually get to the sentence, the state. The state has allowed school districts to apply for a waiver, but the town of Orange, is true with no business, has been denied a waiver. Is a waiver to this ruling can be sought, or maybe there's another
it's-
word than waiver, would you
Well,
know,
it's that
Anna?
parents may request a waiver to have their kids who turn 5 after September
Oh, so
1.
it is in the right
It
paragraph?
is in the right paragraph, but it's
It's
just.
two different waivers.
Yeah, I remember him talking about that, because
Yeah.
There's a-
So it just has to be, it's rather than, I could think you can just say parents may request a waiver for students, for younger students or something, or for
Okay, thank you.
students who are 5
Yeah,
after.
it didn't feel funny there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
From the
That was
district,
my
you might
whole
wanna say
family,
from
all
the-
three of us were
I know,
after,
me too.
From the district.
December 19th.
you know. I didn't turn 18 until I was in college.
Me
'cause-
too.
John, I don't know if it's an edit, but it's a point of information. It sounds like you have the completed grand list from Mark Brancisi? Or you will have it on budget discussions bullet 1?
I believe when we had this meeting, I didn't have the final one yet.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
did
you
not.
That's
Right.
correct. Yep.
Okay, I guess I'm asking the question not as an edit to this, but when are we gonna get it?
You got it now. You have it. Your numbers up there have it.
One of the sheets
No,
he
I'm
sent
asking
out.
for the actual,
You have it. The
One of the
grand
sheets he
list?
sent out, yeah.
The sheet I sent out with the mill rate on it, that's it.
no, Brancisi has a bunch of files, I get them every year.
I think I sent that out to you.
Well, we'll check it afterwards. I'll check up. Thank you. Kevin, I don't have any other team, I don't have any other edits to this fine job I did.
Anyone else?
Nope,
Is there a motion to approve as amended?
so moved.
I'll
Diana,
second the
seconded
motion.
By Kevin. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed,
Okay.
abstained, unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kevin?
Item 5, budget discussion. John, where do we want to start?
Yeah,
Right.
I got Excel files,
guess-
Johnny, and I
I
got,
guess the best place to, I guess the best place to start with is, let's look at first the expenses by town and capital projects and debt. and
is
then
that
go-
this one, John?
No,
Is it
the
Excel
one
or,
that starts, the small one that starts with total expenses.
okay, is it Excel or is it,
You
Is it-
probably have it in both.
okay,
Expenses by town? No.
The budget summary by department, right? This one?
No,
By
it's
town and
this,
school system,
it's this little small one right here.
83.935.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's this one.
There it is.
Is that
You
it?
got
All good, thank you, team.
So what I did, first I started at the big picture and divided it up by different departments, town, capital projects, and debt, because those are usually both the town and the Orange Board of Ed, our debt service and all. Then I put the Orange Board of Ed, their budget, and the Amity Board of Ed, and you can see what the percentages are there. Then I said, let's go to the next one, Jim, that has departments. I said, let's see how much of our total
Or
increase
does
is
it look like,
labor.
oh, okay, I see which one you're on. We have it both in Excel and in the
You
other one.
probably do.
Yep,
Okay, so then I went by each department, and I looked to see what the increases were in labor, because I knew a lot of it was labor. And if you go down a little more, Jim, you can see the total of what the labor is and the increase in the town budget.
Okay.
601, 614.
okay,
Then I said, let me go to the other areas of the town, and this is the benefit area. And you can see the big one there is the health insurance, followed by social security, town pension, police pension, workman's comp. We went down in accrued sick leave, and advisor and report, we went up there. So that's 802,000 there. So if the increase of the town, 1.4 million is those two areas. Then I added in what the increase is for the Orange and the Amity Board of Ed. Now, that Amity number is a little different. It went down by about 98,000, and I
Okay.
didn't get a chance to make that. But
Roger.
for this discussion, we're fine on that.
yep,
Okay, then I said, the Amity budget number that's carried in our budget from last year, the 207,000, the first defeated referendum, I took that out. So then the total increase that I show there is 3,491,000 of the total increase at 3,669,000. So it means all the town departments outside of labor have only gone up 178,000. Of that 178,000, 100,000 is plan and zoning for the plan of development that they need this year. And then there's another 50,000 in there for munis, which in the past years, we've taken that 50,000 out of the operating budget on both the town and Board of Ed side and put it in capital. Well, this year it's in the operating budget of both town and Board of Ed. So if the increase of the town other than labor, 150,000 to 178 is those items. So we're talking about only about $21,000 in increases for all the other items in the town. And probably if you look at the police department, probably half of that or more is coming out of the police department for his increase in education and travel to keep the
Utilities, I mean, I'm
cops.
surprised it's not a lot higher than that, but it's
We
not.
actually, some of the utilities actually went down because the rate did go down for the year. You know, originally it was at 22 last year, and then we locked it in at 13 and change per kilowatt.
John, I'm flipping it over to Excel because I was basically gonna ask you this question. I just wanted to know the components, which you can see in Excel, but you can't see here. So you just added up this one for the 821, the 1473, and the negative 207, and that's what got you to 3491.
Right, correct.
And there is an adjustment gonna be made in one of these numbers. I
Right.
guess it was the Amity number, right?
Right, that
Okay.
number actually should
All
be
right, so it'll be-
1375300.
But your point is that of the 177 that's left, not a heck of a lot, is 100 of that's for this other thing.
Right.
the
Munis.
TP and Z, and
Right.
50, I think, Kev, was for
For
the
Munis.
Munis, all right?
Is it 50 and 50, town and Board of
50 and
Ed?
50.
Yeah, Board of Ed,
right.
50,000 of their increase is Munis, that was not in their budget last
So
year.
is that to pay the ongoing support?
Ongoing support, yearly support.
All right, so this now lets us know, at least as we look at the town, right? I guess we could still do the 50 and put it in capital if that was so desired, but this year might not be a good year.
I think our capital is,
Extended.
what they're putting forward,
Yeah,
we, that's some of the things that need to be done.
okay,
I don't wanna shift another 100,000 there, we're gonna need it,
yep.
whether it's for the generators or. I
Oh,
mean,
here's
you have a
that other
list.
one, John, that's good. They're all, I like how you did this. And maybe this is also some good things. Oh, that's the one where we have our houses. Okay, we'll come back to that.
So then if we want to take it farther,
Yep,
we can then look at the summary of expenses,
this one,
you know,
okay?
and we go to the bottom number there, except again for the little change on Amity, that's where we need to be.
So you're saying that right now, let's just say Amity goes down, would you say it went down by 98,000?
Yeah,
All right, so let's just subtract 98,000. I'm just curious what happens to the overall, so let's just
Take
take
it out
this.
of, take it out of cell,
actually, you could
Yeah,
put the new
okay.
number in,
Yeah,
go
put
to,
the new number.
go to Amity,
it's
go to the
K,
27.5.
K111. Yeah, K111. Yeah, 111.
Is this the right number?
No, I'll give you the number.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I thought I had it, oh, I do have it here. Hold on, just give me a second. That number should be 27,479,044.
That came from Terry.
So,
Yes.
we'll just make that like this so that we remember that something happened to it. And so that's gonna make it a little under 4.5% increase.
Okay,
Okay,
so then to cover that budget, let's go to the mill rate calculation. Jen,
and we can
please.
do that in Excel, right? Right?
Okay, to cover that amount of spending, we need to make the mill rate at 26.29. Now, that's gonna need a little adjustment because of Amity, but it's probably 26.28 or 26.27.
Okay, but before we
Same
even go here,
ballpark.
John, I think we ought to take a ride on the revenue side to see where this number's coming from, because this isn't covering all of the 83, right?
Yes, with the other items on the revenue side.
Right,
If you wanna
let's-
look, you wanna look at the revenue side?
Yeah, there's some stuff in there we want to talk about, I think, right? Okay, here it is.
All right, you could,
Here's the 75 that we just saw from the other sheet, right, guys? All right, which we just saw from this mill rate sheet, kind of like one of those. I'll make it yellow so it's the same.
Yep.
All right, is everybody good? Where it's coming from? So that's on that mill rate, this mill rate, right, with that collection rate, right? You're gonna power out about 75.5 on revenue. And we're spending, going back to what we had on spending, right? We got sort of like an 83.8 or something like that. All right, so go, I'm sorry, John, you continue, please. Whoops, wrong one. Thank you.
No, if we're talking revenue, yeah, we just,
Yep.
everything on here.
Okay, so then the rest of the income comes in from various areas, either state or permitting or,
Did you
Town
tap
clerk.
into our fund balance to help out here, or?
that was one other
That's on
thing
the
we
last
did,
line.
but we'll
Last
talk
line?
about that in the
Okay,
last line.
good, good.
One thing that there is in there that we lost revenue on, last week, the Board of Selectmen, at the urging of the library director,
rid of
canceled
the fines?
all fines
That she
for the books.
talked about that here.
Yeah, she was.
But
So
it
that-
wasn't a lot, right?
I think it's $10,000.
Yeah,
If we
it
go
was
in.
8,700.
Keep going in down, we could see where that is. There's a line for library in there someplace,
And our water company pilot actually went down.
a little bit. We probably missed it, Jim, it was probably up a little.
Okay,
higher.
well, it's 10 grand. I mean,
Anyway,
you know,
so-
you're telling us to take it out. Let's just hit the highlights. We got 75. We don't have a whole lot of differences in the prior years section. I'm just gonna go down, team, and if you want to stop. Assessor section looks reasonably the same. All right, building inspector looks a little bit down, but it is what it is. All right, planning and zoning, 30-something, it goes up a little. Inland wetland, not much. 405 became,
Conveyance is down.
went down
Probably
55
makes
for
sense. I mean, there's like no,
There's no-
conveyance
there's like
tax.
4 houses for sale in town right now. There's no
Yeah.
inventory. It's
Yeah.
not turning.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The people that, in the house, Bud and Maryland's next to me, turn out that they live in Orange and they had to leave their house because of a situation. Not domestic or anything. Our interest, we have a little bit higher because the rates obviously are gonna be higher, or
Yeah,
compared to
they've
what we
been doing
had.
well.
Let's see, we have the 54, I don't know what that is, Johnny.
Jim, what's the 468 increase? Is it all
That-
investment income?
That
Yeah.
54 right there, Jim, that's the money that we got from the state when we lowered our.
So we
mill
got it
rate
this
that
year, but
time.
not gonna get
We
it
won't
again.
We won't get it next year.
I'm sorry, Kevin, you wanna go back up, is that
Yeah,
right?
I
Yep.
think the 468 was mainly all the investment income, right? Is it 298?
It is the 298, yeah, it's mostly investment, we got 123 from another investment,
Yep,
right?
Yep,
So
Cell
two
tower.
banks, right?
yep, okay.
Cell tower, we signed a couple of new contracts, that's why that's,
Wow, almost up to 400,000. One of the best decisions we made was not selling those. I guess that was 20 years ago. The 13 grand again, whatever, a state grant, something like that.
What's that for police? 20K
20,
increase?
yeah.
Whoop, sorry, Kev.
Is that private duty?
yeah, we got more private duty.
Oh, grants, gotcha.
That's pretty much a wash. That grant is usually a DWI grant that they get.
Okay,
for
I'm in
extra
fire marshal
patrols.
and public works. I'll go by section now, that'll help everybody focus. It doesn't look like one thing went down or up for 4 grand, custodial services, whatever that's about. It looks like refuse transfer station charges, about the same. Seems to be about the same, down 20, we can talk about it if you
What's the
want.
permits up there under fire, John? Is that the revenue
That's the
for?
fire marshal.
Fire marshal's permits?
Fire marshal.
Yep, okay.
You up here, Kev?
Yeah, it was 123.
So refuges, what's the refuge?
Yep, see the additional 7K right there?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. A lot of years we had none, interesting.
No, the years before, it was all under one line.
Oh.
He split it into credit cards and not.
Okay. Oh, permits, credit cards, I see.
How's the refuge line, Jim? Go to the summary there, just curious. It's going down. over the years.
Down 20,
That's not that bad.
Most of it's
and
in
most of
metals.
it's in metals.
Yeah, metals, yeah.
Gone down 15 in metals. Kevin's got it all. Okay, we go down another one, park and rec. I still think they under.
Yeah, I think they're under, yeah.
I mean, we give it away on
Self-support?
these summer programs. I mean, I just don't know, whatever, God bless America. Director of Health, not much, not much. Okay, here's one that's up 19,000 in a big nut there, ECS.
ECS, That's
let's
the governor's proposed budget, right, John?
Yeah, that's the number they gave
Public health
us.
nursing up a significant percentage there, Johnny.
That is the money that we get from them for their benefits. Remember, they're not in the general fund, they have their own fund, and at the end of the year, Art does the calculation to get our FICA and medical and workman's comp from them. That's just an estimate every year. But they have more salary now, more payroll, so that's why that's kind of jumped.
I'm kind of surprised we budgeted at 200,000 last year when everything else was in 300s and it's now estimated for 300, but
Well, when
anyway.
we budgeted that 200, we didn't know that 331, what that number was.
At that point in time, yeah.
And
Okay.
different directors now, we went from
You
20
weren't sure.
patients
Okay, so you were
to
conservative, okay.
120.
All right, so
So there, if you go to the bottom
is this
there,
our euphemism for budget stabilization that we're
that's-
taking?
that would be the money
checkbook?
I said, I proposed you take out of the fund balance to help balance this budget, $1.2 million. And I came up with
And I
that
was
number.
just say, I was like, what? That's too much.
That's what,
But-
that was my instinct.
But
But
now,
the
let
trade-off
John
is,
explain to the board what he said to me.
okay,
How I came up with that number, for the month of March, if you remember our last meeting, I explained to you our payment to Amity was reduced by 715,000 for the surplus at 6/30/23. So that's gonna flow at the audit into our fund balance. So that's gonna be
Half
there.
that.
That's gonna be there. And then I said, let's take another 500 out of our fund balance, which we've done in the past.
And
to
I
do
talked about it
this.
at the last meeting, just for projects that are coming on, Smith Farm Road, Firelight, that aren't on the grant list yet. That might be 200 of it, I don't know, of the five, I don't know what else is out there that's coming in, but at least not creating a huge hole.
Right.
Well, and our fund balance is still,
It's still
Yeah.
sizable, yeah.
Why don't,
Right.
Jim, maybe you put up the fund balance sheet
okay.
and we
And
can
this would be a
look
time
at
to
that.
do it with this reval, because,
Mill rate, revenue, now that's in Excel, right? Because we
Right,
want to do
right.
some what-ifs on that one. Revenue projection, reval, mill rate, budget summary. I don't see it, Johnny.
Yeah, I think I gave it to you the last meeting,
Oh, okay.
what was it?
the fund balance
the
sheet.
fund balance report.
Proposed fiscal year,
Yeah, it was the last meeting we had.
Excel files, okay. This one? Are we going to need capital as well, John?
We could talk about that too.
Well, I'll open up both of them, it doesn't cost me anything, right? Okay, so here's fund balance. Okay, so, I don't know why we have all these, Joe, not fair.
Let me ask a general question to the group. As far as our thought process with the reval and the mill rate calculation, are we just trying to cover the increase of five or so percent with the reduction in the mill rate? Are we looking to take any extra in there for fund balance or for whatever may be coming up? Because it's something we're just kind of breaking even? Is that our goal?
We're not coming close to
Oh,
breaking
we're not
even.
breaking
We're
even,
still
Joe.
short, we're still short.
Oh, you're not,
Oh.
with the
I
reval,
got slides on that.
you'd have to gut this budget by $2 million.
Yeah,
If you want the average household person not to have an increase in
Well, I
tax.
saw that, drop it down.
Yeah.
You cut another 2 mills, right? 2.5.
I think you
You're
see
laying
it
off
on
about
the-
50
we're
people.
we're
if
going
you wanna
down
do
a
that.
road that we have slides and
Right.
materials
Just
to
checking, just
prepare. Why don't we do it one at
Yeah,
a
that's
time?
fine, that's fine.
Okay, John, I opened up two things, but you were on a different file
I
at
want
the
to see
time.
the fund balance one.
Fund balance, okay, so here we are.
Okay, so let's go through the numbers there. We have our audited number at 7123.
Okay,
This chair's making too much noise.
Surplus from town, Amity. Okay, so I put 900 there. I put 700 from Amity and 200 that the town is gonna have, I think, in the current budget.
okay, so that's
Being
sometime in the next
conservative.
year, that's gonna plop into our system.
Yeah, that's being
Okay.
conservative. I took out what I thought maybe the OV&A loss is gonna be for the year.
Okay.
On top of what their loss is already in the books for, the 1,000,009. That would bring our fund balance at June 30th, 24 to 17,188,000. And
All
then
right,
you
so
get-
that takes this one, adds them all together,
Right,
two
right.
negatives, and you get
And
to
then you
there.
can see on the right there what percentage it is of the budget.
So we're in 83, so
Right.
we'd be more in the
Yeah.
21.
That 84 is wrong
Yeah,
now because we
okay.
brought it down, but
But we
it's
can
the
guess
idea.
83 would be 20
So
and a
then I
half.
said,
Okay.
so then I said, okay, what if we take 1.5 million and move it to capital?
Right.
That brings our fund balance down to 15,688, and you
Okay.
still see the numbers on the right.
Then
If
you
we
would lower
do
it by another 1, 2.
1, 2, and see what that number is, or just add it to the 1.5 to make it easy right now.
No, we don't want to do that. We want to keep them separate. Okay, so you want to make this one negative, Johnny? Is that the
Yep.
deal?
Yes.
Oops, sorry, good team. Violation on me, another one. I think I have it
Put it right
right
above
now,
1,000,005, yeah.
right? And I think this thing has to get that added in. Let me see. That shouldn't be 1,000,005, right?
Yeah, just change the 25 to 26.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
No.
violation, let me undo that. Kev, let me go with your idea.
Yeah, just change the 25.
46? Thank you. If I could see it, I could do it.
There, and that changed your numbers.
Okay, so if we decided we wanted to spend more on transfers to capital, or even, we haven't put anything in for roads yet.
Correct.
Okay, so this thing here is, I'll have to give it a name, revenue to fund fiscal year 20 budget, I guess, something like that. All right, but the trade-off, John, if we don't put 1.2 in as revenue into the budget, that means it has to be taken up by taxes.
Correct. Correct. That 26 point, what was it, 29?
Yep.
Would have to go higher. 1.2 would probably go up $250,000,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay, and if we want to take out 500,000, then it would raise the
Correct.
need for taxes more.
Correct.
Okay, is this good time to go to our example sheet that you gave all of us so that we understood our taxes?
On your own personal houses, it might be.
Because that's what I built other slides
Yeah.
on, so I could
I
explain it
think,
to
I
myself.
think that would show you, taking that 1.2, putting it in the budget as revenue.
Right.
What would it cost each of you in taxes?
Okay, so here it is, John. I took your thing, since like I said, Joe, I did this in 3 or 4 minutes. It takes me 2 hours to make slides. Anyway, so Johnny, here's
So
your,
First, maybe, everybody's okay with this being out there, right?
Yeah.
On your own
Yeah.
person. It is a public
Anybody can
record.
go on the town website, find it.
Yeah,
are we
I
that
didn't-
secret?
I didn't put your names up there, but, you
yeah.
Okay.
know,
So John, here's what I did. I said, I copied it over, and then I said to myself, what would I do if I was explaining it? Now, I'm not saying this is how you have to explain it, but this is how my brain explained it to myself. So you can, now I'd like you to talk and
okay.
use this or not.
Leave those numbers up there because that's good. Then, item number 1, example number 1 is your current taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see what you're each paying with the 32.31 mill rate right now. Item number 2 is mill
I broke it
rate
into 2 pieces.
collected.
That's,
To
item
collect-
2 is if we have a
If we-
zero increase budget.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
if we collected the same amount of tax.
Right, so that would be a zero increase budget. So 2A, for those watching at home, not as quick as the Board of Finance members probably, maybe not. Without any increase in the budget with the reval situation fully loaded. You can see the line, I happen to, since we use my, 495 Lambert Road, a house I'm familiar with, the increase in that property's taxes with no budget increase would be basically $487.93. Subsequent slides would use 488, I rounded it.
Now, let's take that a step further, Jim. Let's go down to your house at the very bottom.
Yes, sir?
To pay the same amount of taxes with the new reevaluation, the mill rate would have to drop to 23.95.
Which I think
pay
the
the
point you were
same-
talking about, Kevin, right? How far down would it
Yeah.
have to go?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that would just blow everything up.
Okay,
So then if you go to 2B,
yep,
That would be each of your taxes at the mill rate we figured to balance this budget right now.
Okay.
So you can see what your increases are.
So since we had a different number for Amity that went down, and we haven't fully decided on how much of the fund balance to put in, but it's ballpark, we're within,
The 2.6,
you know,
the 2629, John, that includes the 1.2 million.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if we lower what we're gonna take out of fund balance,
That number would have to go up.
that 940 on me is gonna be 1,000 plus.
Right,
Okay.
because that 2629 would have to go up.
Right.
To make up
So
for the
that's,
difference.
That's where it's hard. That's-
yeah, that's the discussion on, you know, that's the argument for a phasing.
here's my slide, Kevin. I made a couple
Look at the
slides.
assessments of our houses versus some others in town.
Well, they're not gonna be
Oh, I know,
way
I know,
off.
I know.
I mean, we have some variability here, but only in terms of numbers, but when you get back to what percentage increases, I don't think you would. I continued on with the example that we used for the residential to commercial shift. So give me 2 minutes to go through 3 slides. It took me 2 hours to present them. It'll probably take me 2 minutes to go through with you guys. All right, so there's the same thing, taxes. So option 1, what I call full reval. You're being hit with it. All right, as you can see, my former 6914, which you saw on John's chart right there, right? Now becomes 7590, all right, just rounding them. What you see is 2 things happening. There is the 2 factors, one is due to budget increases, and one is due to the reval shift, all right? And you can see that's the difference of 676. So if you did the full reval, you would be having 676, which for that piece of property is 9.8% tax increase. And you can see what percent of that increase comes from budget and what comes from residential, commercial. We all good? Team? John? Okay. All right, now, if you split it up over a 5-year, right, basically you're taking the 488 or whatever your number is, all right, and you're dividing it by 5, I called it 98. All right, it's 97.6 or something like that. And so, if you use this phase-in option, then you wouldn't be paying 75.90 if you own 495 Lambert Road. You'd be paying 72, all right, which is a 4.1% tax increase, all right, which comes from the 188. And maybe that'll go down a little if we have reduced the Amity number or whatever we decide to do. All right, but the shift due to reval, the residential, commercial shift, we'll be paying that 98 over a period of 5 years. So there's a benefit there. There's also a cost. And this is my view of trying to visualize the cost over the next 4 years after this current coming year. That 98 is gonna hang around, right? It's gonna be on top of whatever the prior year's number was for a budget, whatever that budget turns out to be. And in addition, you'll have budget increases like you normally do in every year, right? And hopefully we can get revenue increases to help with that, all right? Economic development, that kind of thing. But that's how I tried to visualize the trade-off, all right? That's the slides I was trying to just show you, okay? Everybody-
Quick question on that. John, regarding the phase-in, typically you would phase it in over 5 years, but since our next reval is scheduled for 2 years.
I was gonna ask you
I
about
didn't
that.
understand
I
that,
didn't-
Kevin.
No, I thought you said 5
Yeah.
years.
No, so the
2025.
state of Connecticut.
Here's the thing that Kevin.
The state of Connecticut changed the schedule on revaluations for communities and municipalities. So our last reval here in Orange was slated for October of 2021. We ended up doing it in '22, correct?
No,
Or 23.
Oh, you got deferred.
We got
Oh, you
deferred
got
a year.
deferred. So you did it for '23.
but we did it in 18, Kevin. How
Yeah,
did
it should
we
be
get to
18,
26?
And then 13
18,
before that.
23, and now it's 26.
But why
Because the
did
state
3
of
years?
Connecticut, they changed the
think we
statute.
I think we might have get deferred in 18 too.
You may have. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
But,
I didn't find any of the 168 cities and
But-
towns that
but-
had that 3-year
But
gap.
that's, I
If you
think
look-
what you're gonna say, Kevin, that's a problem there, because we
Yes.
don't have 5 years, we got
correct,
3.
we don't have 5 years to phase
Good,
in.
we phase in 2,
We
we
have
get a
2.
new reval, and hopefully
Well, we
commercial
tell them
goes
it's
up.
a 5-year
Call it a
phase
day.
in, and we,
Yeah.
we'll figure it
We
out.
tell them it's a 2-year, if you're gonna phase it in.
Well,
No, but then you gotta split that over only 2 years.
Yeah, no, it's
I
5.
think this is wrong.
That's not wrong, it come right from the
not
state.
Well, I think that it may have come from, the state would never ever get anything wrong. My
when
God,
they-
there's an authority figure I must
So
bow
they're,
down
they're
to?
gonna
What a
tell us that
concept.
we just spent all this money on a reval, that we added more money for tonight,
Yeah.
That we just
and then we
did,
have to spend it again in 2 years. That's insanity.
correct.
Who's funding
So we
this?
don't
The
do it.
reval
Yeah.
people, companies in the world?
Yeah, I just got through with a reval the year before you guys, and I have to do another one next year, so I'm on the hook too. I mean,
Look,
the way that works,
I'm looking
yeah.
down this whole thing, and we are the only one town of 168 that, if this is an Excel file, and it sure looks like it to me.
Yep.
All right, you take this and you add 5, you add 5, you add 5, it's perfect.
No, that's not the
Because
way
you
it
can't,
works, yeah.
Because we got a waiver for 1 year. Just because you got the waiver for 1 year doesn't mean then you go
doesn't
out
push all
5
the way.
years.
We're the only
from
ones that
that.
got a waiver?
5 towns got the waiver. We were one of the 5 towns.
No, but on that sheet too, it also indicates the city or town when they had their last scheduled reval and when their next one is scheduled. And every single town that would have typically had a 5-year reval are now down to a 3-year window. Some have a 2-year window. I have a 2-year window. Yeah,
That's insanity.
yeah.
This says reval year prior to PA 22, matter of fact, I can open it, I have it in the team folder.
I think orange was 2026.
Yeah.
Right, in both
Yeah,
of
so
the
what does
first
that
2
mean?
columns.
Right.
Here,
Some of them
since we're
changed
talking
from-
about it, let's
yeah.
get it up on the screen for the folks at home. So it just gives me a second, right?
Yeah.
So we're in 18, and Kevin's thing, reval schedule. All right, so here it is.
Let's take the current reval and scrap it and just do another one in 2
So,
years.
well, wait, let's just wait
I
3
mean,
years.
it's,
There it is, orange. See, the first one says 26, 26, both of
Right,
them.
both of them, right. So it's not changing. But there are cities and towns, look at Oxford.
And then you
Oxford
got
is
4 and
24,
5. I mean, you know.
25, right.
You know, to me, if I eyeballed this thing, and I gave it a pretty good eyeball, I mean, I'm saying everybody else is adding 5, I'm not quite sure what's going on here.
No, so if you go to the first column all the way up, you scroll up.
The revaluation year.
Yeah, so that's the revaluation prior, and then revaluation schedule effective October 1 of '23 is in that next column.
I'd write a letter and say, hey, look, you got us wrong here on
And the
on
reason why
column
they're
2.
doing it, is because there's so few reval companies now, and they want the reval companies. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to take
Level load the
No,
years.
They're trying to get like Orange, Milford, West Haven,
All of us around the same
Woodbridge,
area.
Bethany, all in the same area, and they're trying to get them on the same
Do the
year,
same, yeah.
so that a reval company could do all 5 of them.
Are you telling me
fell.
there's some geographic savings by having them do Orange, Milford, and West Haven as opposed to Orange, Fairfield, and New Canaan?
That's what they're
I'm
saying.
having a real hard time believing this. I hear somebody
Save us
saying
some
it,
mileage.
That's
but
what,
the
that was
impact
the
to the
intent.
towns, if that's their rationale,
That was the intent.
I mean, I
of
give
the-
that
of the
low
law.
marks.
Right,
Right?
yeah.
All right, so it is
But
what it
either way,
is,
it is what it
right?
is. But yeah,
You-
you're looking
you
at
see
a
it,
2-year
okay.
phase-in if you
Good,
really
good.
wanted to do it that way. But
All right, so anyway, that's what I saw,
legally-
going back to the choices.
Can we legally do it in 5?
I don't know. That's the thing.
that's the question.
Yeah.
That's what we have to
That's the next question.
find out this week.
Oh, because
Yeah.
that would mean instead of, when we did reval, if we did reval, we'd have to divide that 488 by 3.
Two.
Well, by
Two.
2, really.
Actually,
We're
by
look-
2
because
years.
We're looking at the 24-25 fiscal year.
2 years, because in 2 years, your residential
25,
values
26.
could plummet and go the other way. They could, I'm not saying they're going to, but I don't think they will, but,
Well, this needs some close examination on the hustle here.
yeah.
Yeah, we
I-
don't have time. You know, it's like when they're throwing stuff, so it's,
I'm almost pretty sure you can only phase it over 2 years, but I do agree we should probably get, some.
Why don't we say
leeway
we're
on
gonna
that.
phase it over 5 years, and then, we just happen to be, I mean, you used to work in West Haven, this type of stuff should come
never-
easy to you.
I never did reval. I never did a phase-in
think
in
you wanna
reval.
go
Yeah,
there.
that's one thing we never did. Never phased. in.
Oh, okay. That's one thing.
No, if we
Keep in
can
mind, they didn't have a
legally
tax
do it-
increase in 10 years before I got there. Before I got there, they didn't have a tax increase in 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I got elected for it. All right. All right, now
So
they're
that's-
in
that's-
city and town jail.
That's an issue between
What is the status
us,
of?
the first selectman and board of selectmen and
Yeah.
town
Yeah,
attorney
we can
this
get an
week.
answer on that tomorrow. We could. Yeah, I can send out an email to our bond counsel attorney, but,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that would be fantastic.
yeah. I'll get an answer tomorrow. Send them an
How
email.
do we influence events? Rather than what do someone say they think the law says?
But the law's probably gonna tell you can't phase it in over 5, because you have reval
Well,
too.
we should get
But-
Marino involved here. I mean, you know,
Well, we asked our town council, we asked everybody,
Yeah.
because we gotta come to
Yeah.
a consensus before we meet again.
Yeah.
yeah.
And what everybody here wants. I don't think, and I could be wrong, does anybody wanna put it in full boat right now?
Which would
No,
be
okay. No.
this.
Yeah.
All right, so we're not a fan of that.
Right.
All right.
So if we could spread it over 2 or 5, that's what we wanna do, and we have to request,
Preferably 5, but if
Preferably
we
5,
can't do it,
we
then
still gotta
whatever
do
we
2.
can do.
and that's gonna be with. the-
But when we
the
did it
board
in
of-
2008, Kev, we didn't go the whole 5 years, right? We didn't, something happened.
No, because they froze it then because of the recession. It got frozen at the second year because of the recession.
The town froze it?
No, the state
State.
State
allowed.
froze it, okay, I'll state allowed.
'Cause I think, didn't
Oh,
New
because we
Haven
didn't
go
have
to the-
fully
did-
implement.
Right,
Wasn't it New Haven that petitioned Hartford first to be able to do this?
I don't
It
remember,
was somebody, I forget.
I don't remember. When
But it was somebody
our-
bigger than
our
Orange. It wasn't like
defer-
Orange
oh,
influenced
our
the state.
For the current year,
They make
the
all big
deferral
decisions
started,
on big cities.
the
Right.
deferral started with Hartford for our 1-year deferral
With,
with,
oh, for
on
you.
this one.
Oh, there you go.
Ended up Hartford, Orange, I forget who the other 3 towns were.
Probably Bridgeport, Manchester, who knows? Yeah. Bigger cities.
No, there were a couple of smaller ones like Orange. They were looking for a couple of big ones and a couple of small ones, and they end up five cities and towns. So somehow Orange got in there. I think Demis helped initiate that. I think she was still there then.
Yeah.
I think she did on the last one, too.
And then probably.
So is this a fair thing to say?
That is, yeah, I would say.
So John, how does it work? If we're gonna phase it in for 2 years, you're gonna half the income next year, half the following year.
Not income,
No,
Impact.
not impact.
your tax increase is different. The income's,
You almost, it's
that
almost.
number's the same.
Yeah.
It's just you're paying more or less.
Joe,
versus
here's what the number
commercial.
would be. I'll get you my Excel
It's,
sheet because I did this is an Excel.
Whatever the grand list number was last year to the grand list number this year, whether we're doing 20% or if we have to do 50%. I assume I take 50% of what the increase is if we have to do it over 2 years, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
You're adjusting the grand list.
Right. And it's only for that one portion of the grand list. It's not for the autos, it's not for the
Right.
personal property.
So Joe,
It's
here's the
that
deal.
one top line item.
Yeah.
Here's what it is. If it was 2 years, Kevin, this is the Excel sheet in which I, created it, right? So I just, it was 488, right? For me, for that piece of property. So that would mean it's 244, right, if you did 2 years. And if you went, we could do a 234 option, 235, whatever you want over here, and just put 488 up here, right? And then you just, divide it out, all right? And you could see, what you have to put into, whoops, sorry, team. I have to make that stable. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we don't want to keep it fair here. Oh, God. Okay, and that's the 98 that we saw. All right, so let's just make it so you can see it. So this thing here, that's in question now. These are the numbers you would have in that box, right? If these with a number of years, right? So I'll just highlight them and, you know, that kind of thing. But basically, that's what it is. You know, these are the reval years. So if you have 5, it's great. All right, if you have 3, then that's the deal. So you can see, just plug in your number. You know, if it's 2 years, this is a 2-year phase in. You know, then you could, you know, we could just, you know, you can just, so you could see what happens to the increase.
Yep.
On average, this is kind of one house, let's say there's a distribution around that. I think I was a little to the left of the 38%. I think I was 35% or something like that. So it could be even a little bit higher. So we want to fight hard for anything we can do to not have large numbers like this happen.
You don't get an answer tomorrow on that.
I just think it's too drastic
Yeah,
for all at once. I mean,
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We have to pull out the stops here. I mean, you know. But we've been talking about it a while, but now we have to get Vinnie and Jimmy and whomever, you know, into full gear here. That's money, and this is a reval year. Wrap text, center it, please. Okay, so that's the deal. So that's the amount that we have to cover. So this is money, so let's just make it the same as that. Thank you. Okay. We'll make that the same as that, so all good. So that's what we're dealing with. If it was a 2-year, Joe, right? Am I doing the math fair? Am I keeping it fair? So you can see, you know, the 188's no slouch either, right? I mean, there's salary increases and whatever. We can debate that all night, but these are the numbers that we're talking about here.
so John, the 1.2 million out of fund balance, so your plan is, you're thinking that for this current fiscal year that we're in right now, we're gonna see an underrun on expenditures, albeit not as much as it has been in prior years, but a significant, you know, probably surplus on the revenue side that should make up for the 1.2 overall, probably even higher, right? Is that what your thinking is?
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully.
So,
But that only helps, that helps the fund balance. I mean.
it helps
Well, then
using
we
the
can-
1.2.
then we can
helps using the
offset.
1 point for this, you can offset it, yeah, for using it within the budget. Because you don't want to create, the last thing you want to do is create a hole in your budget, but.
Right.
Right, and then we have to raise taxes to cover the 1.2 in full.
Correct.
We gotta really find a way to make this 98 rather than 244. Right, we gotta, I think we have to make this not, you know, I mean,
What do you mean?
in other
Wants
words,
to go with the
this number here is years, number of reval years, I guess is what I would say, Kev, right? It's the same thing we'd be talking about if we were just, you know, down at a local joint, right? We'd be saying, you know, it would be better to have it be over 5 years, like Anna's voice, right?
Of course, it'd be better if it was 10.
And, you know,
It's what
Nothing
we,
at all.
we need, we could debate that all night. We need a legal opinion.
right,
So, right now, it's moot. Everybody agrees, we wanna, nobody wants to take and say, let's just do it.
No, can't.
we're not in
Right.
favor of this option.
Nobody,
All
so,
right.
we're 6-0, 7-0 with John, to not attempt to phase in.
That's correct, right?
To not,
Two,
At this
Well,
point in time.
We want
Yeah.
a phase in.
to attempt the best phase in possible.
right,
Correct,
whatever that might be.
right. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
But,
Okay, so that
no,
takes
so
care of
then
this.
the other thing,
Okay.
and John, I'm just looking at like our debt from the audit. You know, it doesn't go down much in the next, between now and 26, down 130, 140,000. But then in 27, it drops another 600. That's where the drop is to, if we have to do a bond and 600,000 a year over 10 years, we could to do roads, or, I don't know, but that's for another day. But that's where some of the capitals, or
Well,
the
one
roads
of-
are gonna come
One
from.
of the things that worries me, and you heard it when we were over at the Board of Ed, they're doing a study now on
Yeah,
air
now I got
conditioning in
all
the
goofed up,
buildings.
Joe.
Right,
And that's like, that's gonna be like a $10 million
Second one.
project. That's a concern,
You're talking all schools?
all schools.
None of them have AC right now?
Peck Place, I think, has it.
Oh, right, when
That's
they
it.
redid it.
Yeah, we did it when the water came in, the flood.
Yeah,
yeah, that's when they were all at
you
Bayer,
know,
Yeah.
right?
And
Yeah.
Racebrook.
You know, write up this stuff in
Yeah.
2
Half of them
minutes, then
came
you have
the
to
other
do
two.
this.
Well, I guess a third of them, a quarter.
All right, so,
Racebrook might have it in the modulars that were added.
Oh, yeah,
We did at Amity way back in the day.
yes,
in the
The
modulars.
portables had air
Yeah.
conditioning.
Right, right.
wants to
The
pursue.
junior high out in the back.
Yeah, I used to like having those
The-
classrooms. I sit in the back and put
They were
my-
better.
Put my transistor earplugs in and listen to the Yankee game.
I'll call it the best in quotes.
All right, so then,
Let me just finish this, reval option.
Looks like a plane flying over the beach with us.
Yeah, we could get some,
Kinda got
a
a
kite
fellow
out and
scholars,
do
too.
that. Is this what we say, we unanimously want to pursue the best reval option? I'll just put the best in quotes, because that makes it open to
Yeah.
any interpretation. All right, so that's what we got?
except the,
Maybe what you should do is put it in a motion that you recommend to the Board of Selectmen a reevaluation over a phase-in period.
As long a phase-in as we can
as
manage.
required by law, as allowed by law.
Right.
I agree.
Did they discuss it at the last meeting?
Yeah,
or
could
no?
we ask them to explore it?
Wants-
I mean,
wants
or
to,
is it
it's
our
in the
job to
BOS
figure out what
wants.
that recommendation, have the number of years based on
I think
council?
maybe,
Yeah,
maybe
right.
you should
No,
call
orange
Vinnie
PLF is plural.
Singular.
and ask Vinnie
No,
to,
orange
It's in
PLF.
board, it's just, it's under.
Yeah.
Think it should be
Kevin,
at
can
once?
you find out from-
You find out from your guy, I'll
We'll go
call
with
Vinny
that
tomorrow
one.
morning.
and
Yep.
then we have it for,
And, you know, he's probably one of the two people watching this right now, I don't think so. But, yeah, no. But so you still want a motion tonight?
I would think that, so
Yeah, that makes
then,
sense.
you know, talk to Jimmy and it could be scheduled to see what they want to do.
Yeah, and they need to vote on it
Yeah,
and approve it, because I think that's the last time we did this, the Board of Selectmen
So-
approved it.
right.
So this would be tax increase, right?
So Board of Selectmen never discussed the phase-in option?
It's their prerogative to either do it or not do it.
We
You
make
could
the
only
recommendation.
recommendation.
Yeah, we make the recommendation.
This is the hammer. I don't know what screen, oh, he's got something else on there, but,
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know.
9.8.
Yeah, what I was
You know,
gonna do is
it's,
this, Kev.
you know, if they don't want to do it, they could talk to myself and Anna and Kevin, or everybody whose taxes are gonna go up $1,000.
They'll talk to anybody who starts to learn,
And,
you
and
know.
say, you know, I'm not gonna be very happy with the six of you if you don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so this would be, if this was 163, then that would make it 5.1, right? Percent. And 98, we already figured out was 4.1. So it goes down about a percent for every one of those
Percentage each,
years. Something like that. Anyway, let's just throw it in, see what happens. 98,
And for me, all these numbers will be twice
no, percentage.
the dollars.
Dollar wise.
Dollars are different, percentages is what
Yeah.
people pay. All right, if you got you remember, that also means that your house went up more in value. I mean, so percentages is where we gotta go by. But anyway, yes, you're correct. So I think a chart like this, you know, only one example, right? This is only the Lambert Road example, but I think it's a good bellwether. You can run your own numbers and check it out. I think.
No, and that's what I think I said that at one of our meetings where, like, the lower end houses get the bigger
Yeah.
increase because they jumped up, and that's exactly what we're seeing here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
Oh,
Because,
absolutely.
you know, I'd switch houses with you any
That's
day,
what
and
we
and
said
your,
when we
your
were at.
tax increase is lower because
Yeah,
it's,
my
it's,
tax
it's,
increase is lower, too.
that's where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
you'd have to
jumped
do the
around
percentages.
all
I don't think the
these
percentages are on there, but you can see it.
The last 20 years,
Yep.
some of it went up high and then it came back down because of the phase-in, I think.
All right, so
So we should make.
somebody like to make a motion then?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that John just said. Why don't you repeat it, John?
Make a motion to recommend to the Board of Selectmen that they phase in, how did I say that?
The impact of the.
Yeah, phase in
reval.
the impact of the reval
Reval.
to its
Over the
maximum.
maximum.
Extend,
the- no,
in
yeah.
accordance with the law.
Yeah.
Something like
Correct.
that.
Yep.
Second,
Debbie, we better.
I have it.
okay.
Got it. All right, so Jim made a motion, Anna seconded it. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain, unanimous. Thank you.
So what happens now? Would we go meet with the Board of Select?
I think
or-
we'll have to, once we find out what it is, to explain it to them or have a joint meeting. We had a joint,
We,
meeting.
in
the ones where we
2008, we
talked
had a
about
joint meeting.
We had a joint meeting in
That's
this
what you
room,
said
yeah.
last
Because I remember they were saying, do you really think it's a good idea? I think it's,
We need a new math curriculum if they don't think it's a good idea.
It was a good person that said it, so I'll just leave it.
Yeah, no, it's gonna have
Then
to,
I need 2 weeks, we need 2 weeks before our budget hearing that I get the.
We have to have a
thing
special
out.
meeting with the Board of Selectmen.
When's your budget hearing? February,
20
is 25th?
Something like that.
well, once we know this week, hopefully, what the law is gonna allow us to do, that's when we have the meeting, because they have to vote on that number.
Well, let's take a look at what we have for dates
But
here.
before we go on, we've talked about a lot of different things, and John's put this forward, he's put other things forward. And that's where we are with, where the numbers are, and he went through that sheet with the 177. Is there anything else anybody here wants to look at?
I mean, the only thing we haven't touched, I mean, we haven't done anything with the elementary Board of Education.
Right,
I mean, by lowering them to 2.5 instead of 3.5, I mean, it's an additional 235K. I mean, not sure if anybody has an appetite for that, but, I mean, we did put a stake in
I
it.
think it says a lot to be able to say they threw in something into the change, you know?
but that, what Kevin's saying, I think, when we met with them, we saw the health insurance is a killer.
Yep.
Yep,
And you take that out, their percentage increase was nominal. And then we also stuck them with another 50,000, because we didn't put Munis in the capital budget
Right.
this year. So sure, if we say, okay, come, but I don't think we could say
I don't know if it's a
235.
percent.
Yeah.
I think we could make a contribution. But that gets to the more general issue, is how much more detail can we? I mean, because
yeah, like, what does it do to the, I mean, to the mill rate? It's not gonna change the mill rate all that much.
That's the big thing, it's like you're doing something just to save
Yeah,
1/10
but
of a
yeah,
mil.
yeah, everybody's chipping in, I mean, it's that kind of thing, you know?
I'm just saying, yeah. Because, I mean, we do go after Amity on cuts, and deservedly so, because they've had surpluses over the years. We get all that, so. The town has had surpluses as well over the course of the last 5 years, so is there anything else that we can contribute? I mean, last year, the town underran their budget on expense by $1.1 million. So, and they averaged about 864,000 being under over the last 5 years.
Well, part of that million last year would have been the deferral of the Amity payment too, because instead of giving us a refund, they lowered the March payment too. I think, without
that
having
right,
anything,
Jeff?
so,
But in
So-
years past, the refund was kind of built into.
it was a check, yes, we would put a number in and.
Right. And so,
Yeah.
even with that,
Yes,
there's a surplus.
What's the
every year.
forecast for this year, John, roughly, for expense to be under? Couple 100,000? Is that what
Yeah,
you said?
that's what I figured.
Yeah.
It's not much there. If you look at it, we got a couple of problems.
It'll be
there
more
and
the
stuff.
revenue
It's
side.
not-
The surplus will come from the revenue.
and even like a lot of the smaller things like Park and Rec and the people working in the summer jobs, minimum, things went
I
up
know,
and,
I know right now, just Park and Rec, they're summer help people, we're already expended the budget, and they're coming back next week, I think, so.
Right.
And
Because
we
the
don't
cost
have
went up.
anything there, yeah.
Sounds like the prices for the programs should be reflecting.
The only way to fix it is to raise revenue. So, no, we can't cut
well, on their
the
side it is, because
prices,
the labor costs definitely went up.
Yeah.
Which they're going to.
Yeah.
You've had dollar increases in minimum wages for 5 years, and
Yeah.
in January was 59 or 69 cents.
69 more cents, yeah, it went from
Yeah.
15 to 15.69, something like
Yeah.
that.
Kevin, could I ask a question? So here's a calendar. Here we are on the 18th. John has to get to a printing house by like the end of the month?
By like April 3rd.
Yeah, because with John, when we spoke today, I don't know, because Anna and Ajit, you have Wednesday, Thursday, different things, and I don't think we'll have solid answers in 2 days. Maybe we do, but can we meet next Monday? Does that work?
I can't.
For all of us, I mean?
You can or can't?
I'm good.
I think I'm good next.
Yeah, that would be,
25?
I'm all set.
25?
March 25th.
I can meet on Monday.
So we got
I'm probably the one
we
who's
got
got
an
something scheduled
education.
out.
I could
process.
actually meet next Wednesday too if you need, because our board meetings this
I
week.
think I can do next Monday, I'm pretty sure.
Because let's at least plan on that at a minimum. I have a 5 o'clock meeting, that's no problem, that'll go. I'll either move it or cancel it.
So we're trying to meet with the selectmen when?
We don't know.
You have to find out their
We
availability,
need,
right?
the first thing we need to know is if we can do any of this. Because if we can't, if they turn around and say, it's not, you can't even do 2 years, the phase-in's not allowed anymore, I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I
but
don't think that's the case either. Yeah, I
Then,
think
then
you're
there's
right.
no, but, yeah, once we have to know 2 or 5, and we have a joint meeting and they have to vote on it. Or if
Well-
if we can't have a quorum, because some of us we can't get 4 people there, then, you know,
It
we'll
could be a
just
pretty
present-
quick,
we'll
and
just
it could
present
actually
to
be
them.
a pretty quick meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Jim could just
Could
show
be 5
two-
minutes.
Jim could show one slide.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Here's your impact.
Well, we should be doing,
And then we show the people with the pitchforks that are saying, if you don't do this,
well,
you know.
the deal should be this, the slides are available, they may be direction, they certainly are not off by 10%. I mean, we know that, all right? No matter how much we fine tune, you know, the K-6 budget, even some of our own things.
We're getting kinda late to go back to Orange Board of Ed though. They're meeting tonight.
Right
and
now.
They don't meet again until next month unless they call a special meeting. We're
Well,
running out of time.
true enough, but
We've
don't
been
want-
down that road before.
I'd rather they don't, to Kevin's point, everybody making a contribution is a strong argument. You know, if somebody had their axe toward, I don't know, education or K-6, and they came in with a budget and they held fast or whatever, they didn't have any cut at all, it could lend that type of person to, oh, they didn't even try, help out.
Oh, no, I
You know, that kind of-
I'm not saying that, because I know Mike, Vince, and Bill, I've
Oh, I
worked with
believe them
them.
too.
Solid, always have tons of discussions with those guys, and they've never come in at like 6, which they probably should, but, don't, erase that part of the tape. And then, we saved all this money. They come in and like, this current year budget, there's not much in there. When you take out the health and the 50 grand for Munis,
There's not much
it's
left.
1%, or it might even be less than that,
Yeah.
whatever I had at the last meeting.
I think all I'm saying is you're gonna ask them for a cut, you better decide it tonight so it can be communicated to them.
I don't think, I'm sure they could,
But, and to what Kevin said, all right, they take out 50,000, it doesn't even change our mill rate.
Matter, yeah, I think it's insignificant.
Yeah, it doesn't,
I understand the concept, but.
doesn't move the needle.
Yeah, it's not moving the needle.
0.98,
yeah.
Right.
that was my number
Yeah,
if I took out the
remember
other
saying
stuff.
that.
If you
So,
took the other stuff out, yeah.
if we got rid of health insurance, they're at 0.98. And with contractual salaries and everything else, that's kind of a
well, that's where the town's at too,
miracle.
I mean,
The other question is our fund balance percentage still pretty strong, John, versus the new budget, okay? For bond ratings and all?
I'm
That's important.
comfortable with that.
Well, the problem-
I wanna keep it at 15% because.
Or better, yeah.
Yeah.
but Joe, here's the problem.
Because if it's there, and to anybody's point, you can say, oh, well, you could go down to, Kevin was the one who brought it from 5 to 12, and that got us all the better bond ratings, and it was great. And then we went above just because we had other fortunate surpluses come in.
Yeah.
But like when
It
Sandy
certainly
Hook
doesn't.
happened, we immediately gave the Board of Ed several $100,000. We had, because that's what, it's nice having it there that, it's not, we're not somebody who's like, oh, if we do this, what's gonna happen? We just did it.
And we did
Well,
it
that's the
last
other
year
thing
for
about,
them too.
yeah, that's the other thing about having a fund balance is that if they really get into dire straits, they can
You
go.
have it, yeah.
And that's with
Which Andy doesn't have.
Mike
Right.
Nass, I think, when the Orange Board of Ed, with the teachers, and we said, just take them out because you don't know if you're gonna need them. And then they came back in the summer and said, not only we need the 3, we
Oh, I
need
see
4.
what happened.
And we were able to pay for it out of fund balance and that.
One of the other things we gotta be aware of, Joe, too, is that waiver that they didn't get on that reading program. If
The
they could be coming
300,000.
Back in the summer
Yeah,
at us at
but
some
we could
number.
also, we could say to them,
Defer?
figure, well, probably not defer, but you can't punt, but, they're saying it could be however much, up to, $500,000, but that's if they did the entire K-6.
Right.
They wouldn't have to do K-6. It's
Hey,
K-3 is the
Kevin.
requirement. But anyway,
Since
So
Joe
it could be
brought it
over a
up,
couple of years then.
yeah, you
I
could
just
definitely do K-3
put
next
another
year.
million out of the
200,000.
fund balance if I did it right.
I've done all the
Okay,
research.
that's
I
3.7,
can talk to
I think
Vince
that's right,
and say, this is
okay?
what you should go with.
Which would bring our number down to 15.9.
15.9
And-
at 13.4?
Yeah, but it's not 84.7, it's a different number. I could punch in a different number here.
Yeah, it's 83 something.
Well, we have the number. All we have to do is copy and paste it as a number, right?
Yeah.
Copy it.
Jim likes paving.
Well, listen, you don't think when we go to budget hearings, I haven't heard a number of people?
Oh, John and I heard from
You
one
know,
today, so-
oh, we, you know,
calls
this,
every
that, and the
week.
other thing,
Yep.
right? John, I'm gonna paste this as a.
What was the new number?
83,
Yeah, I thought I had
I
it.
got it right here,
Oh, what is this? Oh, this is art.
right here, Kev.
Forgot to hate it.
So you could do that, and you'd still be at 16, Kev. This is the new number, right? So I haven't changed everything on John's sheet, but that's what, as far as the fund balance.
So you're basically,
Is this me?
instead of road paving, you're talking about transferring 2.5 million to capital, if we were to do that, which we could do it at any
$1
time.
million
Yep.
paving.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know, just to see what happened to the
fund
fund
balance.
balance.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, we get a ASAP on this one up here, okay?
what's that?
Well,
Oh, yeah.
I understand
Oh,
that
LBNA.
the history period, all right? But if this is continuing, I mean, you know,
And Jim here, like fund balance going from 18 million to 13 million, it is roughly like 27% reduction in a year.
Yeah, that's a lot.
well,
We'll have-
but hold it right there. Hold it right there.
We're
you see.
way above.
This is what happens every year, okay? We didn't go from 18 million to 13 million. What we did is, at this point in time, right, we assessed it and then said, you know, if we were going from 18 million to 13 million, then that would mean that we never look for future transfers. We never look to road paving, and that's not true. I mean, that's why when we start
No, and
looking
this,
at,
you have 2.5 million of the drop is directly for capital projects and roads.
true enough.
1.2 million is to
True up.
ease the pain of
Most of
the
it back.
reval and the tax increase.
Correct.
And the 2.3 is for something that's just unfortunately happened with COVID and everything else with the OB&A.
Yep.
None of it's like, oh, we just threw away $5 million.
Oh, no. But we, the one up above is what I'm saying, Kevin, we have to very soon find out what the operating statement is for that organization that's taking away from
Right.
our bank account, basically, our collective town bank account.
The question becomes, do they have a plan forward? Is there ever a time?
Well, this was
when-
a test year, right, with the new leader.
Yeah. Has it been a year?
I mean,
believe
this
so.
June 30, we should make a decision close.
I believe I was up in your office, John, I forgotten the meeting, right, and Kevin texted me, and, right, wasn't that
Yeah.
a morning meeting
When
about a
she-
year ago?
That's when she just started.
Yeah.
If we're not breaking even, there's a problem still. But anyway,
They've made some good strides,
Yeah.
but I don't
See what
have
happens. Let's see
current
what
data.
Yeah, we don't have the data.
yeah, let's see what happens.
But anyway, going back, so if you were to have the proper budget number, right, and I think that's now updated budget number, with some massaging potentially, and if you paid, you know, pick a number, $1.50 for road paving, whatever it is, all right? And, you know, even, you know, if you remember how many, when we were here, when the Capitol gang were here, right? 1.5 was not gonna cover a lot, right, of what they were asking for. So there's gonna be
No.
choices made there.
We could look at capital as part of Monday night next week.
All right, so we're agreeing to meet Monday. Where can we meet, John? Can we meet here?
Right here. This
25th?
room's available.
Want to do earlier?
I'd like
Can
to
we do
see it.
earlier? 6? Can you
You
do
got a
6?
5 o'clock, right?
I had a 5, but I could move it. I mean,
Well, it's up to
nobody's
you.
gonna find somebody this late in the game. To
Hold
be
on a day or
arrogant.
two. It'll be fine.
Another extension
15th is
coming
a
up.
way long.
So no, I could do that.
Yeah, I could do any time. I mean, I just have to leave.
All right, Kevin,
Oh
what
yeah,
are
you have a long
proposing?
commute.
Yeah, I could leave at 3.
6.
6? Can we ask that the Board of Selectmen join us?
Yeah, I think we need to, right? John?
I can't speak for them.
Yeah, I don't,
No, but we can ask.
Yeah, we gotta see.
Do
if
I
they're
make a
available.
motion to ask? I can
what would be,
call.
what would that point be? To have, that would just cloud this meeting. And we gotta finalize, find out, A, if we can do this phase in, and then come up with a final budget. and if we're gonna, whatever capital, because that meeting with them, like you said, it would be 5 minutes.
Yeah, should
But
be.
do we need to have the final budget in order to get them to agree that whatever best phase-in we can do?
I think so.
I just don't wanna have 6 people here when we have to spend that night to finalize a budget, and then you get into other conversations, it's
Okay.
gonna muddy the waters too much. That meeting will just be a special meeting, and like I said, if 4 of us can't be there,
Right,
then
then we just don't, we are not.
then
voting
I
on
just
anything.
present it to
Yeah.
them and say, this is what we want,
Right.
and it's up to you guys, cause it
But
is
we're
up
not
to
voting-
them.
We wouldn't vote that night anyway, that would be on them.
Yeah, they have
We
to
have
vote,
to
our
make the
vote
vote,
doesn't
yeah.
matter. We're just suggesting, which we did with our motion tonight,
Right.
to notify them and put them on notice to have them here.
Yeah, you're right, and they can take it up at their April 9th meeting.
No,
or
they
when-
can't.
No, we need it ahead of time
Because
for
I
our
need it
budget.
to- I need it
Get
to
the
be
printing
able
out.
So we would have to have a
Books.
special meeting,
Board
Yeah.
of Select.
or they would have to have a special meeting, whether or not, you know.
Right,
Where we were invited.
But we might not be ready for Monday, so that, for them to notice a special meeting, to say if they could attend, and then we got another 6, I don't think that'll
All
that'll
right,
work
well, here's
logistically.
my schedule. I am gone as of the 27th, okay, so,
oh yeah, so you gotta shoot for next Monday then.
Yep,
yeah. Well, I mean, you don't have to do,
Shoot for Monday for what?
for our
For
meeting.
this,
For our meeting, yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so for everybody, so we'll,
6
6
o'clock on
o'clock?
Monday. Perfect.
all right, so I'll use one of these blue ones. Whoa, there's a violation, Joe.
Can you give me an idea tonight, are you comfortable with the 1.2 out of fund balance to help balance the budget, regardless of whether it's phased in or not?
Here's what troubles me about that, John. I'll use this to explain it. We all agreed that, that we would want to not do the full phase-in, and go 5-year phase-in at one point in time in this meeting. And then, I think it was Kevin's voice, or through this examination of this document,
Yep.
potentially it's a 2 or 3 year thing. I don't know, something about it feels funny, and it kind of goes like this. If it was a 2-year gig, 244, and and because that's the best we can do, then that particular house happens to be mine, but everybody's house is gonna be the same kind of thing, would be a 6% increase, all right? A 5-year phase-in would be a 4% increase, all right? So, John, your question was what?
are we
you all
comfortable using
comfortable?
1.2 million out of
Right.
fund balance?
Well, that's my point.
And we're using 700K from the Amity component.
Yeah.
So it's really a $500,000.
But
Right.
when I see a 4% and a 5%, John, right? Going from 5-year phase-in to 3-year phase-in, all right? Which means I go from 283 increase, 286 increase to 351, right? This is, we could reduce the 1.2 and have more in fund balance, right? And do this 5.1. Okay? You see my point?
No, because if you reduce,
Yeah, I'd
The
be taxing
revenue-
more,
Right, you're raising taxes more.
you're raising taxes more.
so I wouldn't, so that would fill the gap that the 1.2 is now filling,
Right. If you take that 1.2, or whatever number you put in there,
right?
other than 1.2, you're either,
You're raising
if you go
taxes.
lower, you're gonna raise taxes. If you go higher, you're gonna lower the taxes.
Right.
You gotta make up.
Yeah, I
that-
don't wanna go higher.
You gotta
Right.
make, no, I'm
But
just
what I'm
saying
saying is this,
You just
Kevin.
gotta make up that tax, or that revenue somewhere.
Being forced, if we are forced, and when we walked in here tonight, we were all fired up about the 5 years and 98 going into the yellow, right? With the budget increase of 180, whatever it is, 188, right, for that particular piece of property. But you could also have made we could also have made the argument that it still would have been a 5-year phase in 98, but to to use the less money from fund balance would have, if it,
The
if,
98 becomes 100 and something.
that's right.
Yeah, that's
Right,
it.
Right.
That's my point. In other words, and then you save some or all of that 1.2. I'd like to do a sensitivity analysis with you on that. I mean, I could stop by tomorrow, or you could do one.
That's not gonna be a decision made by one or two people. That's a.
That would be the
everybody
board-
at this
this board's
board
decision.
Feels, and we could come to that conclusion tonight.
But
Save
I-
everybody time.
But do we have the math to do the sensitivity analysis, Kevin, is what I'm asking. It doesn't, it's just not dropping off my brain on how to do it right.
Yeah, because I'm thinking that this phase-in is, I don't know the law, all that, I mean, I think it's gonna be a 2-year deal. That's my guess.
I agree.
That's a
I
good
don't- I
assumption,
can't
I think.
imagine that it. that
I
they're
can't
gonna
imagine you
say-
can phase it
We've
over
had
5
waivers
years.
before, Kev, right?
You know what I'm saying? And plus, it's gonna make his job a lot more difficult 2 years from now if the real estate goes the other way.
So if
and
we're
they're
at
still-
if we're at a 2-year phase-in versus 5, that's
Yeah.
a much bigger increase, and it'll be compounded by if you use less of fund balance.
Correct.
Correct.
Whatever
That's
we
right.
don't use a fund balance has to get put into the.
So that analysis you're saying is really dependent on what the answer to the other one is? To the
And,
to
and
the
what
number of
people
years?
here say, okay, 5%, I'll raise taxes 5%, and, but we're gonna take less out of fund balance, so we're now gonna raise them 7. That's not what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna use the 1.2 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're saying is that regardless of the phase-in, which hopefully it would be more, more years, so it'd be a spread-out impact, but either way, we're still gonna need to use something from fund balance just to offset
I think it's too big of an impact.
the impact.
And we're lucky where our schools in town, with the ARPA money, didn't add stuff that other towns did that they now
Correct.
don't have the financing for, and they're like 6,
Fis-
7, 8%. just-
Fiscal cliffs.
Yeah, that
right.
are, and, positions being eliminated, they, that's where the
They did
Board
it.
of Ed did a great job.
Yeah,
And
they
I don't
did
think Amity has any positions that
They
were,
did it the same way. They
Yeah.
built it in.
I mean,
One of
basically on the
benefits of not
1.2
getting a
million.
ton is you don't get tempted to try to do too much.
All right, so you guys are thinking that one option that seems to be more real than not is the 2-year, which would be in the yellow 244.
Yep.
Which would be for that piece of property, 432 increase.
It's still a
And
6%.
yet that would be then the
It's-
one that
it's-
would be carried over.
it's still
from the-
ugly.
Still
Oh, yeah.
$45 a month. $40 a month.
Oh, yeah? Take home pay.
Yeah, I mean, on the 1.2, we're basically hedging our bets, which is, I think, pretty safe bet that this current year's operating budget is gonna be under by at least that amount, if not more. The
So
revenues are
it'd be
coming
like a
in.
wash.
It'd be a wash, yeah. The revenues are coming in very strong this year, as they have in years past, so.
I
I-
mean, one of the things you could do
And interest
too-
could be, we could pick up in the next couple of months still. It's
Yeah.
definitely gonna be over what we budgeted.
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
you could do too, on capital, not do as much capital as you usually do, wait until September and then do some more. A lot of times it's not spent till then anyways.
Right, with the capital, what we could talk about it, so if you we talk about it Monday night, is, what's really urgent? Because there are some things we have to.
Well, there's one thing that fell off the capital list that was right at the top, the cooling tower for the library. The Board of Selectmen okayed that contract last Wednesday night, and Art found money in old bonding that was for the library, so we're covering the $100,000 cost with old bonding money that hadn't been spent for the library. So that's off the capital list, so that's good.
Well, that's good news, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Is this the capital thing that we worked in last year? Is this the
Yeah.
one?
so that
So that-
bond's been
actually,
sitting
that
there
was-
since they built that library?
No,
Or
this
no, we
isn't
did the
what-
repairs.
This was bonds over the years for different repairs over there. The roof at one time, I think the windows at one time.
Yeah, the
So
windows,
it's
Jim and I
three-
took a
it
tour
was
when
three
they were all
different-
leaking.
It was
Sure
three
did.
different bonds, but we came up with the money. And actually, the cost came in, we had estimated at $150,000 there, came in at $100,000. Actually, environmental engineering they gave them the bid.
Are you talking about stuff that's on this
That's
sheet
nice.
here? Do we have to decide on these on Monday night, Kevin, or
No.
has this been?
It's not part of the budget. I mean, we could talk about it, I'd be happy to do that, but we don't need to decide on anything.
As far as the budget goes.
Because this will be out of the capital fund,
So
Correct.
that will be
which
out
is
of the
not the general
capital.
fund on the
Right.
budget.
So that gets into how much we put into capital, and then the capital fund, which is a different file, right, over here.
One of the things we should do Monday night is allocate the money for the police cars out of the special duty fund. That's a okay one, we got the money there for
Okay.
that
Okay, so we didn't do that yet.
now.
Okay.
Now, but that way he could start ordering them and get ready, because there's a problem with police cars too, unfortunately.
Well, there's a lot of accidents. These guys are having to use their cars to stop people. Then you can't replace the car.
Yeah. Got long lead times, cars, right?
Wow. Yeah, you can see under the building inspection how much compared to last year, we are down.
All right, so are we moving on?
Lead us through, Kev.
All right, so then,
So are we definitely planning on next
Monday.
Monday, 6 PM?
6 o'clock.
here?
6 o'clock, good, thank you.
all right, then we'll move
Expense
to
and revenues.
to item number 6, review revenue and expense reports for 2024, March.
One of the good news I got for you, Art told me today that they posted income on tax collection on real estate over our budget number. And
Yeah.
so we're pretty good there,
So I'm saying, humming along on revenues.
yeah.
How does that happen?
We're
Conservative
actually,
budgeting.
we're actually 20,000 to the good on real property right now.
We've got 3
And,
months to go.
And our negative is only 186,000 to continue to collect.
Okay.
John, on page 2,
Which one, revenue, Kev?
arts revenue,
Arts revenue,
that
okay.
John just passed out.
Yeah, we don't have it on the screen.
He's got Amity at 700 in the revenue.
No, I put that there because this is only through February, and that was a January thing. He's gonna transfer it to revenue, I believe.
Not revenue, right?
He's gonna do a journal entry, I think, after,
Okay,
the
so that's in
transfer.
here, but it's
It's
not
not in
revenue,
here.
because there's gonna be a reduction of the, okay.
Right.
I just, I don't wanna double count that 700 and all of a
No,
sudden we
no,
got a
no,
problem.
Yeah,
No, I don't wanna do that.
It's like when Al forgot the
Yeah,
bond.
I was just thinking about that.
Fine.
Speaking of 2008.
Oh, I
You
forgot the debt payment of 500.
You could see at the bottom, his
God.
like-
his projection though on
Brings
the,
us
on the
back to
revenue,
Olive.
he's projecting 1,130,000.
Yeah.
And most of, and that's without the Amity money in there, and most of that is income, is interest income.
Yeah, I was gonna say a million more.
No, that's good news.
There's your surplus right there.
Yeah, because even back when we did the budget, rates had moved from like almost nothing to 2, maybe 2.5, and then they hit 5.
Yeah, and I got a feeling the way the economy's going, that they're not going down as quick as they originally thought either.
No, I would agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be late fall before they start doing something
Tail
like
off.
that.
Yep.
Johnny, how you feeling about this expense report that we have, 23-page beauty here?
It's gonna be some of the areas we're gonna be over, but
And average
I
it?
think we should break even overall. We don't have the kind of surplus in the police, accounts that we had in the salaries. He's actually got a full staff, believe it or not. He's got 2 recruits that are gonna graduate, I believe, the end of this month.
Right.
He's got 2 more going in April.
Yeah, that is
They'll
great.
put him at a full staff.
Oh,
And then
really?
he's got another one that's gonna start July 1st, so he's right there. And he's got his full contingent.
Do you know if these
Has that
are,
ever happened? In like the
Not in a
last
long
15
time.
years? I don't think
Not
it
in a
has.
long time.
does he have anybody retiring?
Nobody knows that he's retiring yet. There's people eligible, but nobody that he knows.
Oh, well, that's good.
That is
Hopefully
good.
they won't.
Are these new people, like junior people, I don't wanna call them younger people, or are these people coming in
Now
after?
they're younger,
Younger.
they're younger. They're in the academy.
It's good to get into the business, it's good for everybody.
Absolutely.
One actually that's going in the academy
few of
next
them to be
month
teachers,
was,
too.
worked for Park and Rec cutting lawns for the last couple of years.
Good.
That's awesome.
It's good. Love to see it.
And this town will be safer now. More police presence.
It's actually Orange resident too, so that's another, you like to see that. We still have some open jobs, so you're gonna see some salary line items that are real low. We still haven't replaced our admin up in zoning and health department. We haven't replaced our youth officer yet. Where else? We have a few other openings. I think there was an opening in the library for a librarian, and I think they just hired somebody.
Has Rich in that job?
No, I'm good.
Don't have to collect fees anymore.
We'll probably be over in voter registration with the,
Changing the law, you
with the
mean?
new voting and everything. I'm not sure what people are putting up there, but
5-day vote.
live and learn.
Now, I'll leave everything aside, keep my mouth shut, but, is there any reason to even have a primary anymore in this town? We still have to do this?
So the way it works
I mean,
is.
both candidates have
Yeah.
locked up the votes.
There's
There's-
actually
they're the-
there's actually other people that are on the
Unfortunately.
thing. Yeah,
Oh, there is?
yeah. On both sides, I believe.
For other positions, you mean?
No, for president, for president.
So the
Yeah,
way.
they're on there, but
yeah,
they.
It's crazy. the way
There's
they
not
do
enough
it.
delegate votes, it's over. For better or for worse,
I know.
Oh,
mostly for worse.
So the way it's supposed to work is both campaigns are supposed to actually take their names off the ballot. Their campaigns are supposed to contact Connecticut, take their names off
Yeah,
the
'cause to
ballot.
spend money
And then
for-
you wouldn't have to
it's
have a
just-
primary
yeah.
if they did that.
For the you mean, to,
Yeah,
yeah.
Why waste the money?
Yeah,
I know, it's fun.
What they
for-
should do is have
Yeah.
the primary the same day for all the states and
Yeah.
knock it out
Yeah.
instead of the way we do it. My personal feeling, but
now, do we have to pay for early voting for the primary too?
yeah. We got $10,000 so to help pay for it. Everybody, every city in town, no matter what your size, got $10,500.
Oh, from the state?
Yeah.
Sugar Haven's like, thanks a lot.
Yeah,
ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, that's gonna help.
New Haven, Bridgeport, Hartford, it's like,
Well, I mean,
Three-ring circus.
Especially at Bridgeport. How many
you know,
elections have they had?
oh my God.
Now you heard on the news, they had apparently had problems on the last one too.
Oh, they've had problems all over.
Nothing else, John? No?
Anybody have any questions or concerns?
not tonight.
All right. Wow,
We know we're gonna have a surplus this year, so that's good.
Yeah.
On the revenue side, right, Kev?
Yep.
oh, well, if everybody's good with that, then item number 7.
I'll make a motion.
A motion to adjourn by Jim,
Second.
second by Kevin, all those
Put my
in favor?
PJ hat on.
Hi.
Aye, opposed, abstained, unanimous, thank you very much, and we'll
Very good.
see everybody next Monday.
Thanks.